All right, Van Lathan is here. Chris Ryan, the executive legal officer of Milton, Chadwick, and Waters is here.
Eddie Barzoon of The Ringer.
Eddie Barzoon of the. Are you the Eddie Barzoon of The Ringer?
No, Sean is.
Sean is definitely the Eddie Barzoon.
He would have jogged like Eddie Barzoon.
Yeah, Sean comes jogging up and he's just like, "You're trying to get your name on the charter."
Fascinating Pacino Keanu time, 97. Pacino's coming off Heat. It's 2 years earlier. Feels like 10. And he was in City Heat and Donnie Brasco and Devil's Advocate. And then The Insider and Any Given Sunday 2 years later. Keanu kind of needed this movie. He needed a hit. He had done Speed in 94 and then had this Johnny Mnemonic, Walk in the Clouds,
the Mnemonic Courier,
Chain Reaction, Feeling Minnesota, and The Last Time I Committed Suicide. So he was 0 for 5.
Chain Reaction, not bad. Just wanted to throw that out there. Morgan Freeman.
Not bad. I can't say people were like, Keanu's back. This is it.
But Keanu was doing something where he was doing like he was doing the one for them and the one for me type of situation.
Yeah.
He always would dip back into the indie sort of smaller movies as well to kind of keep testing himself.
There's a fascinating sliding doors with this where they're trying to get him to do Speed 2.
Yeah.
And I have the Premiere magazine where they have the cover story about Keanu and why he didn't take it. They're offering him $11 million for Speed 2, which was a lot. And he read the script. He's like, I don't like it. I think the movie's going to suck. I'm out. I'm going to do Devil's Advocate
that's what
instead.
Jaylen Brown is doing right now?
I don't like it.
I don't like the script.
It's like, 260, I don't like
Playing
it.
with Porzingis.
They added Porzingis to it. Who's the Jason Patrick then? Who would be the Jason Patrick for the Celtics if you can't get Keanu? Who's the Jason Patrick?
It's Tyler Hero. Somebody's super depressing. So then his instincts were correct. That was not a good movie. I think the bigger problem I have with Speed 2 is just a bad idea. Like a boat isn't
the cruise ship
fast.
doesn't really move as fast
Yeah.
as a bus. Yeah.
It's like if you did Fast and Furious 2 and the cars weren't involved.
It's been a while since I watched Speed 2, but I feel like they also there's too much other stuff happening off the boat. It's not like, oh, we're trapped on this cruise ship.
I've never seen it.
So he does this movie instead. Van Lathan, you were super excited when we said we want to do this movie. Why?
Because this is like one of those you ain't seen that classics. It's like, you ain't seen The Devil's Advocate? Like everybody, this was like a movie that was equal parts mess, religion. There was always something happening. It was just like, I just remember people watching it and just being astounded at the amount of stuff that happens per scene. It's always a little weird.
It's a rich movie.
It's a rich movie.
It's like New Orleans food.
Yeah, you know what
rich.
I mean? And it's like,
it's
excessive.
And no matter what type of entertainment you like, I feel like this movie kind of delivers it. And it had like a lot of faces that we knew and just enough faces that we didn't, right? We didn't really know Connie Nielsen at this time.
No,
I did not.
We did not know her at
I
all.
thought she was Italian after seeing this movie.
So when you saw her, it was like, ooh, what's that? And then because really at this point had is it 2 Days in the Valley with remember that joint?
I do remember that joint.
Charlize Theron with
Yes.
James Spader, and you remember that movie?
I do. I think that was her first movie.
That was her first
Yeah.
movie.
It was that and That Thing You Do. She
she
shows up as the first girlfriend in
And That Thing You Do, but she's only in that for a little while. So like she was a new face that was rising. You put that with Al Pacino, who's in kind of like what you just said, like a little Al Pacino mid-career.
He's in his like LeBron Lakers run.
Yeah.
He's not in his prime anymore, but he's still impactful.
But if he takes 2 weeks off after Christmas, he comes back strong.
Al Pacino goes to Mexico.
So it just had something for everybody. Like this was one, once again, I always say this was one that you could watch with your friends, or my mom liked this movie because it had strong religious messages in it about excess, vanity, man's fatal flaw, and Satan.
Yeah. It's like getting duck fat fries and then somebody's like, you want some aioli with that? And you're like, yeah. I'll have some fucking aioli. How about that?
Can you put some bacon bits on these?
Or should I say, I'll have some aioli? But I like movies that, the idea of the elevator pitch. It's like somebody can pitch you the movie in the elevator. If somebody is in an elevator with you and they're like, Rosemary's Law Firm, I hit stop on the elevator. I'm like, tell me the story of this movie. Or if they're like The Firm but Satan, I just hit stop and I'm like, tell me all about it. It's just a great pitch for an idea. It's a great idea. And then you add in the like Tony Gilroy part where he's just writing these long fucking crazy monologues for Pacino.
Crazy.
And like there's two. There's the Eddie Barzoon one
Yeah.
and the one that's essentially like an 18-minute fourth quarter, like 9 for 11, goes to the striped 5 times, kind of like they're going to replay this on Hardwood Classics.
But you know what's good about that? Like, I'm from the Bible Belt, and, you know, I like Jesus and stuff, but he, but
you're representing the religious
I'm
aspect.
representing,
So pro-Jesus.
I'm
Okay.
pro-Jesus here.
Gonna mark that down.
But like you're 17, I'm 17 years old when this movie comes out. So I'm in the theater. So I'm just about the time of my life where I'm making up my own mind about stuff. And I'm like, yo, man, is he right?
Save it for the hottest take, man.
You know what I mean? I'm
Save
like,
that is possibly the hottest take.
I'm like, yo, man.
Make it vaporize.
I'm like, yo, man, is he right?
Some solid points here.
So I go home and I start bucking up to my mom and my dad. Well, isn't it unfair that God asks us to do something? My dad is like, all right, we got to go back to church. What's going on?
You're like, is God an absentee landlord, Mom?
That's the kind of thing that you would say exactly that exact line.
There is like a good, maybe we should actually come up with a subcategory of movie that is you see it and then it kind of changes your perception of things for like a day. You come out, it's like when you walk out of JFK and you're like, nothing is what they tell you, brother. You know, and if you see Devil's Advocate, you go home and you're just like, Dad, I have a couple of points I'd like to make about the church.
We forgot to mention it is courtroom month. That's one of the reasons we're doing Devil's Advocate. We did Injustice for All. We're doing this one now. And this movie has a pretty funny version of the courtroom.
Yeah.
So you have basically Satan versus God. And then you also have Satan as a proxy, as a lawyer, and how there's a whole lawyers are evil aspect to this movie that's kind of fun.
Milton calls lawyers the devil's ministry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Keanu Reeves' character has won every case. Then that's why he gets hired. It turns out, is that why he won every case, or is it because Satan's his dad? So the movie's trying to talk about that. They're trying to talk about. There's a lot of they talk about in Taylor Hackford's DVD commentaries, the director, about how important the free will concept was.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Like nobody forces you to be evil. They give you the choice to be evil. And if you take that choice, that's your choice.
And if you go back through the movie, every point, Kevin decides, I want to do this. I want to do that. Like Milton even tells him, I told you to quit the case. We were going to replace you. You decided you wanted to be a part of it.
This is why Pacino's Milton is my lasting portrayal of Satan on screen.
Oh.
That's
not Louis Cypher by Robert De Niro and Angel
That's
Heart?
a great one.
That's the one seed coming out of the East.
Yeah.
That's a great one. That's a great one. Also, don't discount George Burns.
From Oh God, You Devil?
Oh, wow.
Oh God, You Devil. Don't discount George Burns. Those were my Satans growing up. But this one.
Not Dame Omen?
Oh, no, but that's not.
I don't call him Damien anymore. I call him
Dame Omen?
Yeah, three Omen movies. Dame Omen.
Is he Satan? He's not Satan, though.
The original Dame Time?
He's the Antichrist.
He's the Antichrist. So I don't think that counts.
He was born from a jackal. That movie's nuts.
That movie is nuts.
Damien, it was all for you.
It was all for you. And she jumps off. I used to be so afraid. I'm like, yo,
that movie is really creepy.
But because it really doubles down on the fact that it's not the devil made you do it. It's
the devil tempts you to make horrible choices.
Decision. It's right there for you. You did it.
It's like South Beach.
Yeah, exactly the same thing. You go there, you know what's
going to
happen.
South Beach and have a great time and have dinner and just enjoy your day and go back to your hotel room.
Sure.
Vegas.
Or
I use Vegas.
Vegas is another one.
I go to Vegas.
New Orleans is another one.
I see a show. I get a massage.
Yeah.
I do the whole thing. Everybody else goes to Vegas. Snowflakes all over their nose.
They lose
and stuff
their mind.
like that.
Yeah.
Get another kind of massage.
Different type of massage.
Mykonos.
Same
you go to
thing.
Mykonos.
It's your choice.
Probably not. Yeah, there's choices that you can make. I've never been to Mykonos. One of the things in the writing about this movie is how much fun Pacino is having.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to think, what other actors were like, man, he's having fun? Because we say this with sports, but rarely with actors. I think Denzel's had a couple of those. We're like, oh man, Denzel's having a good time in this one.
Yeah, but this is really you do wonder what any other performer would have done with this, because Pacino is doing a song based on sheet music that only he can read.
Yeah.
Like the words he chooses to punctuate, like when he's And it just doesn't make any sense when he's like, the final fig leaf, and he's like covering his crotch. Like, you're just like, how did he choose to yell those two syllables or these two words?
It's son of a woman Pacino after like
if you could
5 drinks and a head injury.
Yeah.
But even prior to that, like I watched the scene with him and Marianne.
Yeah.
Where he is he's
very quiet.
So quiet.
Yeah. And
when he's telling her to change her hair.
Seductive, but just blisteringly confident in his ability to like silently woo her. It's like he looks at her and he goes, see you with your hair up. He goes like, I would do it, but everybody who's pretending not to watch us right now is going to instantly think that we're fucking if I do that.
Yeah.
That's just like devastating cool.
Yeah.
That he's able, like a Satan-esque cool that he's able to kind of portray in that scene right there. So even there, I'm watching that, I'm like he's really enjoying himself right now.
Very Belichick-y.
I don't think he's Belichick-y.
Like Belichick-y.
When he told Tom Brady, like, no.
What? Belichick? What the hell? What conversation between Belichick and Brady? Anything like that?
I was trying to think of leaders who are considered evil.
Are these the things that, like, in your head,
listen,
these are the fantasies
some
of Bill?
jokes don't land, man.
He's like...
So this came off a book. It was by Andrew Niederman. It was called The Devil's Advocate, and it was published 7 years before they made this movie. And he approached Warner Brothers, and he said it's about a law firm in New York that represents only guilty people and never loses. And the project bounces around. There's a really good casting what if, and it kind of dies.
That would be a cool idea for a movie.
Yeah, or a
taking
TV
the
show.
devil out of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then something we've discussed in previous Courtroom Month podcasts, the OJ trial happens. And people start getting super excited about making legal movies again. And all of a sudden we have a $60 million budget. We have Taylor Hackford, Tony Gilroy's involved. Get Pacino, we get Keanu, and we're off. And Hackford says the courtroom had become the gladiator arena of the late 20th century, following the progress of a sensational trial as a spectator sport. Interesting. I had this in Picking Nits. Like, I kind of wanted more from fake Donald Trump, that trial.
The Cullen trial.
Yeah,
the
I think
Nelson
this
trial.
movie's long. It's over 2 hours, but they kind of speed through the trials and some of these things. But that one, I was like, this is where we would have gotten our courtroom
the two trials
bones.
are pretty interesting. The Getty's trial in the beginning and the Cullen trial. I wish we had more in the court stuff. And they cut out some stuff.
Soon as Marianne's subplot starts to really take off, they stay out of the court as much and just use the court or any of his work
his major distraction.
As his major distraction. Because the Cullen trial, we go from, I don't want this guy to be my lawyer. This guy's the greatest lawyer. To at the end, I know people are lying, but I have to go through it again. They really don't spend any time with that character at all.
Can we talk about that character?
Sure.
Coach.
Craig T. Nelson, who was also in Injustice for All.
Yeah.
True Beverly Hills.
And is playing against type in this.
He's basically Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm. They mentioned Trump in the movie.
They mention him. They film in his Trump Tower penthouse, whatever it was.
Automatically recognized it. I called out on I never recognized it at any point watching the movie until I watched it this time.
The screenwriter Tony Gilroy, he went on the Mark Maron pod and he said the movie was shot in Trump's quote shitbag apartment.
This is why he's the GOAT.
And he said Trump would pop by the set every day in order to, quote, try to see Charlize. And all the while, quote, the entire crew was laughing at him and laughing in his apartment. It's Tony Gilroy in 2021.
I'm not gonna get political, but that apartment is fucking ridiculous, bro. Like I even the reason why I noticed it is because I'm watching him sit down, and I'm like, yo, who would fucking live there? I had never known.
Right.
Then I went,
yeah. Wait a second.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Like I've seen that place because when I was still at
you noticed all the gold?
When I was still at my old shop, they did a show called Objectified, and where they went in his house and he had to, pick out objects from his past and like tell Harv about him and all of that stuff. And so I remember looking at the raw from that.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, that's Trump's house. I never thought about that before when I'd seen the movie.
Hackford said they were surprised they let him film there. They said the character was a very egotistical, very horny New York developer who was, quote, based on Donald Trump. And they reached out to him because they wanted photos of his penthouse for reference. And then the location scout said, you can have it.
And
if
they
you want.
even put in, like, they needle Trump in the movie. Like, when they're
Yeah.
like, Trump's supposed to be your buddies.
This was a little bit of a strange Trump time because he'd gone bankrupt in the 90s. He was getting crushed in Spy Magazine. And, you know, I think he was trying to get his mojo back a little bit. A couple years later, he starts doing the WWE stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like, before he was running for president, he was making, like, movie review vlogs and talking about, like, the new
Right.
Taco Bell
The
menu.
Apprentice was like 2006. So,
when The
yeah.
Apprentice comes, Donald Trump is like a pretty beloved celebrity, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I mean, the more people in New York that knew had issues with him from the Exonerated 5 stuff
Yeah.
and some of the other housing discrimination stuff, but most people around the country didn't have that much of a problem with him.
You want to talk a little John Milton,
The
the author of Paradise Lost? That's Pacino's character's name.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of stuff from Milton that you can Google.
Tony
We
got
don't
in
need
his,
to go all into it. But
He got in
it's-
his classics bag.
We go deep.
Yeah. Dante's Inferno is The Office, you know, with the different levels of The Office.
He had the
apparently.
quote that Lomax quotes: "Better to reign in hell than serve in heaven." Hackford was more about the legend of Faust and the concept of the Faustian bargain. And I don't know. There's definitely a John Milton hanging over this a little bit.
Yeah.
But so that's one of the weird things about this movie is that it's both deep and really trying to do stuff,
And super fucking
but it's also
campy.
super cartoonish.
Yeah. The movie asks like real questions about religion and the push-pull between good and evil, about capitalism, about family, all while people are doing the weirdest fucking shit that they've done on screen. All while, like, you know, when he's talking to the guys in the subway, like that's really a powerful scene. At the same time, it's super weird.
The funniest thing I've ever seen in my life is Pacino speaking Spanish and telling a guy like your girlfriend
Oh my God.
is splitting
That
a
seems
jumbo with a
incredible.
guy.
A jumbo.
This is so the one thing I wanted to ask you about in relationship to another movie we've done on Courtroom Month is Primal Fear, right? So Primal Fear is essentially really lean, very straightforward, and it builds and builds and builds, and then you get this twist at the very end. And you can watch it knowing the twist is coming because you can sort of look for hints in the Ed Norton performance that like this twist is going to come. In this movie, it's called The Devil's Advocate, and very soon into the movie, it's apparent that only the protagonist he's the only one who's not aware that he is working for Satan.
Mm-hmm.
But do you guys remember being surprised at all by the end of the movie or by the reveal that he's the devil?
Because I mean, I was going to have this in What's Age the Best for this movie. In the moment in '97, you could tell from the trailer. It's like what the movie was about.
It's like
and it had
flames
devil,
going everywhere.
and it had devil
knows.
in the title, so you knew Pacino was the devil.
Yeah.
I think now if you stumbled into it in 2023, you might not know.
So I watched the movie a couple of times to get ready for the pod. The second time I did something that's so awesome. I know it's awesome. I can say that. Uncle Rico of this pod. I'm awesome. The second time I tried to watch the movie pretending I didn't know that Al Pacino was the devil, and then trying to get to the point where you figure it out.
Mhm.
And it's the subway scene.
Yeah, because you can read people's minds.
Because he's reading people's minds. And if you watch the movie like that, the script is actually written, in my opinion, as if you don't know. You know, but the script to me is written.
So you think the promotion kind of fucked them a little bit?
Nah, I don't think that it fucked them a little bit because I think it's too big of a part of the pitch of the movie. Like anytime you have Satan as a main character in a film, you have to let people know that he's there because Satan is such an interesting character on screen almost always, right? But anytime, so they weren't going to get around doing that. But what I'm saying is that when you watch the movie, he draws him ever closer and ever closer and ever closer, and is still trying to pull the wool over his eyes until he's more comfortable being who he is.
Right.
Even like when he's in he seduces a bunch of different people. Even when he's in the elevator and he's got the two ladies with him.
Christabella and Giselle. Yeah.
He's like, you sure you don't want to come up? You sure you don't want to leave your wife and your mother and come with me? Like, by that part, you know how the devil is kind of pulling at you.
Sure.
Vanwood got in the elevator.
I guess
the
the good
I'm
comp
out.
would be
I'm like, because really, it's too good of an excuse. I'm like, hey, baby, take
You know, I gotta go. My boss wants me to go up to the penthouse.
Do you want to live in this apartment or not?
Yeah, I
gotta go up
stuff.
here. I'm gonna be up here for probably 13 to 15 minutes. and then I'm going
to quickly shower.
And then
I'll see you
he's got a shower up there. You know, maybe I'll go get a massage and I'll come right back down.
The question, I guess the comp would be Rosemary's Baby, right? You watch Rosemary's Baby. It pretty much saves all of the true satanic part for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then even then, it's really kind of subtle when it's like, oh, he has his father's eyes is the big, the big twist.
Mm-hmm.
But you can watch Rosemary's Baby. I think that when I first saw Rosemary's Baby, I didn't know that was what happened at the end.
Yeah.
It's just an interesting use of like when you tell people what the movie is about.
Mm-hmm.
Could this movie have been better?
Sure.
Yeah.
If you had like one of the top 5 directors of the 90s do this. Taylor Hackford directed it, who we like. He did Proof of Life.
Mm-hmm.
We've done a bunch of Taylor Hackford movies, but he made it campy. Mm-hmm. And I wonder, like, what happens if somebody actually doesn't make this campy and they treat it more like Rosemary's, like how Polanski treated Rosemary's Baby. Like, you take somebody who's a real creative, a real artist, and they're like, I have this script. I'm going to go this way.
I think that I was going to save this for What's Age the Worst. I just think some of the special effects really like take you out of the movie. You could make the argument that it should have been more about the law firm or more about his relationship with Marianne and their marriage falling apart when they moved to New York. But the big thing for me is just like some of the more supernatural elements of it. And even the end where it's like this amazing speech, but like the paintings are moving and all this stuff. You're just kind of like, all right, this hasn't really aged that well.
It hasn't aged well at all, but I try to put myself in the place that I was when I saw it. And when I saw it, that was freaking me out. Like,
it was cool.
Like
Yeah.
This is like 6 years after Terminator 2, when we were like, whoa, that guy just went through the prison bars.
When I saw it.
Whoa.
And it's crazy. And I always think about this, right? I always think about like, these movies always look bad when I watch them. But I tried to watch Eraser on cable. It's just so crazy how bad it looks, right? Then I watched Jurassic Park, and for some reason, the movie still works. The effects hold up really well. I will say something about this film is like, so all of the Devil Is Here films that I was watching, they were all from that weird period in the 70s where they were obsessed with making movies about the devil.
Yeah.
When they were kind of rebelling against.
What were they trying to tell us, man?
Well, you know what happened? One of the films, I can't remember. I think I brought this up before. No. One of the movies actually, in a little monologue from this fake producer or something, actually gave the reason why. In the 50s and the 60s, there were tons of movies that were biblical. It was Jesus movies, and it was the 10 Commandments. And then people actually, they wanted a different side of that to be shown.
They zagged.
And so The Exorcist, Rosemary's Baby, The Omen, all of those movies start to come out. Some of them were great and some of them were not so great. Anytime I saw films like that, as a kid, they were always movies where I was looking back. This was one of the first great films that I could remember that dealt with man and the devil with no presence of God in it that I watched with my own brain. And it was like it was a cool experience for me because I relitigated a lot of my childhood and stuff.
And started questioning whether or not you'd chosen the wrong team with God.
Got that out of me because look, you have to think. I'm not saying
it's advanced free agency.
But you guys got to think though. I'm 17. They're throwing the finest level of white girl.
Yeah.
Like on the screen. Okay? They're throwing all of these things. Isaiah's over there like he gets it. They're throwing months.
He was trying to duck that.
Like Isaiah's over there. I heard that, Isaiah. They're throwing money. Remember, this guy's from Gainesville. I'm from Baton Rouge.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the SEC connection.
SEC town.
Yeah, it just means more.
Now he's in New York. I'll say one thing about this movie. New York looks absolutely beautiful in this film.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm thinking.
Well, it's actually New York, for one thing, yeah.
I'm thinking, yo, do I want to be here kicking it, going to the LSU games on Saturday for the rest of my life?
Right.
Or am I willing to go up there and really take my shot?
Did you ever live in New York?
I've never lived in New York before.
Do you like it?
Nah.
Good call, Van. That place sucks.
Not really.
Whoa.
Not really. It's
you just had a good time there. What are you talking about?
It's a lot for a country boy.
Did I?
Did you enjoy yourself?
Did I?
You did.
It's a beautiful city, great energy, but I would have ended up like him at the end.
You would have been in Satan's back pocket.
I would have blew my brains out and came back home.
Even if you weren't working for your father, the devil?
Probably because it's just a lot for a country boy.
Off of what you were talking about, what movie have you watched in your life that freaked you out the most about Satan and the devil and that this shit actually exists?
Well, the thing
What's
that
your number one?
freaked me out the most about evil is Texas Chainsaw. So I watched that for the first time when it's like I watched it like the night I moved into an apartment in Boston and I had no furniture. We had no furniture like in our house yet. It was just kind of like sitting on milk crates. And it was really one of those like The Ring kind of like, oh, there's a copy of Texas Chainsaw Massacre here. Like the old tenants left.
Yeah.
I've never seen this before. And we watched it at like 1 a.m. and I thought I was watching like a snuff movie.
Y'all white as shit. There is no fucking way I would have watched a leftover copy of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
That sounds like a horror movie.
In Boston.
In Boston. That is, y'all are crazy.
Yeah.
I would have been freaked out outside of the door.
Every door locked.
Yeah. Are you?
I was up until like 5. I was just like leather faces coming out of the wall. But as far as the devil goes, it's The Omen, I think. Omen or Rosemary's. Yeah.
What about you?
So this is not the scariest one. It's The Exorcist for me. It just really freaked me out because my dad would be like, that really happened. And the devil really can get inside of you.
It's not a chill thing to say to a kid.
Oh my God. Once in my life, I was trying to iron, right?
Yeah.
I was trying to iron my own clothes. I was trying to help my mom, but I had been told not to touch the iron. Don't iron, my dad used to say. But I was trying to iron my own clothes, being enterprising. Iron fell on the floor, burned iron print into the carpet.
Oh no.
My dad comes back.
Do you think it was like a devil's hoof print?
My dad said, that's Satan's hoof print.
Yeah, I thought so.
Because you were in here doing something you weren't supposed to be doing. I'm 9 years old.
Yeah, that's tough.
The hoof print doesn't leave. I am freaked out. I try to put a Bible over the hoof print. I try to do all kinds of stuff like that. My dad didn't care about anything like that. He was like, there's the God, and then there's the devil.
But he's letting you go see Devil's Advocate.
I was 17 at that point.
Okay,
So
you disobeyed him at age 9, and there was a devil's hoof print. For
Devil's
your troubles.
hoof print.
That's pretty tough.
What about
right
you?
there.
For me, it's still Ghost when Willie Lomax gets pulled down in the bottom by all the shadows.
Come on,
it still
bro.
freaks me
Dig
out the
deeper,
most.
man.
Still, come on, dog.
Because I just feel like that's what happens when you go to
Are you
hell.
a sicko?
These
I'm gonna go
shadows
Logan
come.
Roy. Are you a sicko? That can't be the thing.
Well, that's the one that that made me go, oh yeah, that's what hell's like. I think the movie that freaked me out the most is weirdly Drag Me to Hell.
Oh,
That's a good one.
We saw that movie and I was like, I just felt weird for like hours.
That's how I
after.
felt about like there are horror movies that you go to and you're just like, that was pretty fucking good, man. I felt that was pretty awesome being in that. And then there's like Blair Witch, Drag Me to Hell, ones that get so intense that you kind of need 20 minutes afterwards to be like, all right, no, like that's not reality.
That was one of those where I just didn't want to go back to where we lived. $57 million budget for Devil's Advocate. It made $153 million.
What a country.
Quiz question. This was Pacino's blank highest grossing movie. What would you guess? In his entire career.
I would actually say like 5th.
Okay.
Third?
It was 5th. Can you guess the highest grossing movie of his career?
It's not Dick Tracy, right?
That was number 4.
Is it Any Given Sunday?
Nope.
Nah, I don't think that one did that well box office, honestly.
Should have.
Ocean's 13.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
I was wondering if it was going to be some backdoor cover like that.
Yeah, just like some weird thing where he popped up and it's not really a Al Pacino thing.
Godfather 2nd. Heat 3rd.
He made more money than The Devil's Advocate.
Dick Tracy 4th. Devil's Advocate 5th. Jack and Jill 6th.
What is Jack and Jill?
That Adam Sandler movie.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what the fuck y'all are talking about. I've never even heard of this.
I mean, I've heard of the movie. But
It's not an awesome movie, but Pacino is, at that point, it's just dialed it up completely.
Right.
Roger Ebert, our guy, 2.5 stars. He says Devil's Advocate is neither fish nor fowl. It's not a serious film about its subject, nor is it quite a dark comedy. The epilogue indeed cheats in a way I thought had been left behind in grade school, and yet there are splendid moments.
Should we talk about the ending? Should we save it for a category?
I have it for a category.
Okay.
Most rewatchable scene. Let's start with that. Keanu's cross-examination of the little girl in the pedophile trial.
Yeah,
it's really good movie making.
It did not have that in the rewatchable scene category, but
that scene's really good.
It's pretty gripping.
It's quite a way to start the movie where you're like, whoa,
and this
what's
is our
going
hero.
on?
So our hero is a piece of shit.
I had this as the opening. I had this as one of my rewatchable scenes. I like the opening scene, but like it is brutal in the way that it casts him. And I'm like, why didn't I ever feel this way about him before? He is a shithead.
Yeah.
Relentless when he knows his guy is that. So I think that's a good
First
call.
of all, it's not his guy. It's Machine.
Oh, it is Machine.
It's Machine.
8mm.
It's Frank. It's Frank Sabaka too.
Yeah, Frank Sabaka, yeah.
Yeah, it's Machine.
Yeah. Is he Frank Sabaka or Machine? Nah, he's
Machine to me. He's
Machine
also
to you?
Frank Sabaka, but he's Machine.
Yeah.
And then he also, what was the other one? He played one of the Yankees in 61. He
Oh,
played
yeah.
like Moose Scourin or Hank Bauer. I love that. Chris Bauer, like one of the great IMDb's. Next rewatchable scene. Keanu meets Pacino in the outdoor water roof.
Yes.
Which I also
Infinity
gave the
pool
Great
off the
Shot
edge.
Gordo Award. This scene, I watch every time this movie's on and I know we're around this scene. This is one of the most harrowing scenes I can remember. My wife had this quote. She was freaking out. She didn't remember this movie when we were watching it. And she was like, oh my God. Because she hates stuff like that.
She
when it
hates
seems like
heights?
somebody might fall. Yeah, she just gets weird. And she actually said the words, my vagina's going to fall out of my body. That was an actual thing my wife said. I know. That's how scared she was. I wrote that down in my notes.
Is that what happens when she's scared?
She was
You
so
asked her
scared.
if you
She
could
thought
say
she was
that
going
on the
to.
rewatchables.
Well,
You didn't?
I didn't. It was funny. Well, she was like, I'm going to. She was like, I'm going to pee all over myself.
I was like, I don't think he asked her.
Nah. Well, that's how she felt. I knew you guys would enjoy it.
Her phone is about to blow up.
She was squirming. She was going nuts, going nuts. She just can't handle it. And I gotta say, this movie doesn't have great special effects, and the special effects in that are fucking unbelievable.
That apparently is like a real rooftop garden somewhere.
Yeah, it's like a
Not
50th
with, like,
floor.
with
But
no-
they added.
They added
yeah.
some
stuff.
effects,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like
yeah.
the infinity thing going off the edge of the roof is like real.
And
Do
once
you
again,
get nuts when you watch? I get a little
always?
when I
Always.
watch stuff like that, where somebody's near the edge of a whatever.
I was watching a David Blaine special one time, and then like in the special, David Blaine's sitting down talking, and he gets up and he walks and he's walking along the edge of some skyscraper, and I like started to have like a little panic attack.
Yeah.
See, my wife can't handle that.
I don't mind watching
number
it.
one
I
thing she
actually
can't
don't
handle.
love doing it. Like I don't like being up against a window or like on a roof of like anything more than a couple of stories.
It's
Like
tough.
it's not my favorite thing.
We always joke, like if you go at the top of a building and you can put your face against the window and look down, and she would always go, I get the funny feeling. I'm getting a funny feeling.
Interesting.
She just can't handle it.
Yeah.
So anyway, that
now
scene
we know what the funny
broke her.
feeling
Now
is.
we know what the funny
Now
feeling
it's
is.
actually like
She's
things falling out of her
feeling,
body.
yeah, falling out of her body.
Pacino telling Charlize to change her hair. We mentioned that earlier.
Absolutely,
It's a
yeah.
great scene. I just wrote down for this one, Charlize tries clothes, sees devil shit, and freaks out.
Scene with the ladies when they're all
Featuring it really just takes me out that I think I can't remember, is it Jackie who's her
Jackie.
friend who's the medical examiner on Law and Order SVU. So
Yeah.
like I watch an SVU every night, and like she's just always in my life. So to see her in this context was quite different.
She's the one who was topless?
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
my breasts are real type of situation.
Pacino tries to talk Spanish on the subway.
Tries.
Well, I guess he does talk
Yeah, he
Spanish.
does.
Convince those
Spanish.
guys.
Yeah.
Do you think he learned Spanish
He's
or he
after
learned the?
Carlitos, man.
You think he learned the lines?
Yeah, I think he's.
Has any American actor done more Spanish and Mexican and that whole?
That's a great question.
He's
But
been
Al's got
Cuban. He's
been Cuban.
been all over the place.
one of our great Latin actors. Yeah.
Al Pacino.
Yeah.
But I used to think he was. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I used to think he was. He's all the romance languages. He's got them down, man.
He does that
Does
at
he
the end.
actually speak any Spanish in Scarface, or is it?
No, I don't think.
No, he
Yeah.
does.
When does he speak Spanish?
He
no,
speaks
at the
a bunch
beginning,
of
at the
it.
He
beginning.
does a fair amount in Carlitos, right?
Yeah.
I like at the end of this when he goes invigorating.
I thought that my favorite part of that is the just the detail of your favorite green bedspread.
Yeah.
And the idea that this dude who's got a box cutter on the 6 train has also got a favorite bedspread.
So everything that he said, he continuously upped the ante.
Yeah.
It was, she's going with him, they're going to smoke crack,
Yeah.
and then they're going to have anal sex. It's just like
on your favorite bedspread.
On your favorite bed. It just got progressively worse.
Although it did seem like a lot of work where it's like they're going to go up to his apartment to smoke crack, but then down to your place to fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, why would they do it that way?
I don't know, but
Yeah.
John Milton knew.
Mm-hmm.
John Milton. Keanu's opening statement for Cullen. This is a good courtroom trope.
I'm not going to waste your time.
Attorney, he kind of undermines his own guy
Yeah.
as like a strategy.
But also deflates like this blowhard just talked for 2 hours.
yeah.
And I know you want to get lunch, so let me just tell you, like, my guy's innocent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't like
yeah,
my
straight
guy.
shooter.
I don't like this person.
Yeah.
But he's innocent. Good strategy. Eddie Barzoon bites it during a Pacino monologue is my next rewatchable scene.
Yeah. Also, Eddie Barzoon jogging, just
Eddie
Eddie
Barzoon is
Barzoon-
out there jogging.
They're like, hey, Jeffrey Jones, the actor who played him. Hey, you've jogged before, right? It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Totally looks
I
like
jog
a runner.
all the time.
And they actually had to
Yeah.
they actually had to address it. He's like, he was running, if you could believe that. You know what I mean? The guy
They
says
only
it.
show him in short bursts because he's just like, he looks like a fish being pulled out into a boat.
Interesting career for Jeffrey Jones after this.
Well, he's coming up later.
Right.
So the 3 joggers chasing him are each wearing a color associated with the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Did you know this?
Yeah, just the little things,
One is white, which is conquest. One is red, horse of war. The other jogger is black. It means famine. And then as Milton is doing his monologue, he's wearing green, which is death.
Mm.
Yeah. CR knew this.
Yeah.
You know all your devil shit.
That was 101. First day of college.
First day
Eddie
of devil college.
Barzoon.
You went to devil first day of devil college.
No, ironically, I went to Temple, but
Right.
yeah.
Oh, religious.
Eddie Barzoon. I nursed him through 2 divorces, a cocaine rehab, and a pregnant receptionist.
President receptionist.
It just keeps going for 5 more minutes.
He uses Eddie
Good
Barzoon's
Pacino.
life to completely indict society.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we learn more about Eddie Barzoon in that monologue than we did in the totality of the entire movie.
We got 1 billion Eddie Barzoons all jogging in the future. Every one of them getting ready to fist fuck God's ex-planet,
This
lick
is a
their
long
fingers
speech.
clean
It is, bro.
as they reach out toward the pristine cybernetic keyboards to total up their billable hours.
It's cybernetic, but he
This
says
is
Tony
kybernetic.
Gilroy's like-
Tony is just like fucking Stevie
really-
Wonder right
Yeah,
now.
he's just getting off.
He's like, we are in the pocket.
He's got
Society,
cigarettes
let me
coming out
tell
of
you
both
what I
sides of
think
his
about
mouth.
you.
Yeah.
Right.
You're all alone, Eddie. You're God's special little creature.
Do you think that Gilroy finished typing this and was just like, I'm him?
He's like Austin Reeves.
Or is that about somebody? Is he pissed off at a studio exec or
Oh,
some middle
I'm sure.
management piece of
I'm
shit?
sure.
That's his Eddie Barzoon in
It's like
real
writing
life.
about John Peters. Next one. I mean, this is kind of grim, but the Charlize kills herself scene is pretty great. It's not
I was
rewatchable,
about
but
to say,
it's
yeah, I don't think that
it's
I couldn't
it's
even watch
really
it.
intense. I'm trying to get through the door. I don't know. I'm just flagging it. I didn't know what category to put it, so I'm just mentioning it. And then I have Pacino versus Keanu.
The last half hour.
Last half hour.
The final fig leaf.
I hope.
Um,
Starting off with that amazing shot of him walking down the street in like abandoned, desolate, like
Yeah.
New York,
Yeah.
to where all right, supernatural shit coming because that can never
Well,
happen.
and then Pam's outside the hospital and she's like, don't worry, you're not going to feel any more pain. Like, and
Right.
Yeah.
And now we're officially in devil mode because I don't even think that he's on Earth at that point. I think
Right.
that he's in some probably weird
Limbo.
dimension,
Yeah.
limbo thing. Yeah.
Keanu says, Satan? And he goes, call me dad. We're just getting crazy. Look, but don't touch, but don't taste.
Mm-hmm.
All of God's contradictory rules.
And in the meantime, I mean, Sean Fennessy is sort of like the originator of like really documenting this speech, but he was the first one who pointed out, like, you can't really hear me do this, but all of the hand gestures that he does during look but don't touch, taste but don't swallow. And like when he's like, look but don't touch, and he does like little nipple twists.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, taste but don't swallow, and he does like a 4 tops hands thing. It's
Mhm.
like he's on like another level.
Do you think at various points during this movie, Pacino's like, I'm throwing 99 miles an hour and there's Keanu Reeves.
But I think it only works.
Totally fine actor.
But yo, I think it only works like that.
It's like Jordan and Larry Hughes.
Yeah.
You know, like
He's just like, man,
I
it would
think
be so nice if like Cruz was here.
Kobe and Smush. I think it only works like that though. The movie, because fucking Keanu Reeves' character is so dumb.
Yeah.
And he's so stupid in this entire movie. He's so unaware of everything.
Yeah.
He's like he's like a baby almost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Al Pacino he always has all the information. He uses his tongue in this movie. So like everything is so tasty. Everyone's frailty is so delicious to him that he's like lapping it up almost in every scene.
What do you have for most
last half
rewatchable?
hour. The look but don't touch speech.
Yeah, that's the heart of the movie.
I have the
also the train scene. Did we talk-
I forgot to mention it. But
also
we had talked about it earlier.
the train scene as well.
I think I have the outdoor roof.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always like, especially as the TVs have gotten better, that scene's kind of amazing just to watch. It's like a total, how did they
And
do
also
that
you
scene?
just get your wife's reaction.
And my wife every
Yeah.
time.
You can't
Things are falling
argue
out
with
of
the
her.
vagina falling out. Look, but I do want to mention another scene that I like in this film. It's like, Bill, that's
You're in so
fucking-
much trouble.
You're so fucked.
It's fine.
But I want to mention another scene that I had never really paid that much attention to. The Moyes scene.
Oh yeah, the
Is-
Delroy Lindo scene.
The Delroy Lindo
Yeah?
scene.
Yeah.
The dog, the craziness, the little boy walking him down to the basement, and then Delroy Lindo's down there doing a terrible Haitian accent. But still, like that was kind of a cool
That would
scene,
have
too.
been, if they were gonna do the Prestige TV version of this, they could have done like 2 episodes just on the Moyes
just
case.
on Moyes, yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
where he's like, I'm starting to get into some pretty weird shit at this law firm.
I had this later, but it's just so clear that Adebisi should have been the voodoo guy.
That would have been dope. Delroy was in his bag at that time, though.
No, I get it, but
a
it
little
just
early for Adebisi.
I don't want Delroy to just be doing the Haitian accent he whipped up like 5 seconds ago. Adebisi is like right there.
Yeah.
And I can't think of anybody better to just be in some basement with weird animals, just being crazy.
No, Adebisi's been underused.
Totally agree. He must be bonkers behind the scenes.
Yeah, he's been underused. He was in Suicide Squad. He played the shark.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Adebisi come into a movie and be like, oh man, this fucking guy? It's always like, oh, Adebisi.
Yeah, he's in
Oh my
this.
God.
Dude, let's get fucking wild.
What's age the best? Charlize was 21 when they made the movie. This is like young, kind of baby fat Charlize. It looks like she just flew into America and just started making movies. We have this whole history with her now.
Mm-hmm.
She
I
was
like
on a rocket ship because she does like Children of the Corn,
Well, she was
and then she's just in these movies.
ridiculous.
She just exploded onto the scene. I remember, like, what was the movie we talked about? It like 2 Days in the Valley joint.
Yeah.
And that came out, and it's not that great of a movie, by the way, but it was just so out there that everybody was like, oh my God, there's this new actress. You have to see her. Boom, Charlize Theron. And then out.
So she comes in the mid-90s and just basically crushes it from that point on. Do you think she's good in this movie?
No. As in, like, actor-wise?
Yeah.
No. I think that she's doing the bad version of what Al Pacino's doing, meaning she's dialing it up, but for some reason, it's not landing. If you wanted to take that character...
But it is effective for the story.
I
It's
think
effective.
I think she's good in this movie.
Because it's
So-
got
This
to
is a
be,
good argument.
it's got to, you have to somehow be like, how is this dude not staying home and hanging out with Charlize Theron?
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
And she's got to be basically like annoying enough for him to be like, yeah, I think I'd rather just hang out with my boss and go to like watch Al Pacino flamenco dance. That sounds better than hanging out with you, who is one of the most beautiful people in the world.
So,
Yeah.
And she dials it up to the point where she's like hysterical every night.
so let's have this conversation, because I looked at this, right? And I've always felt that way. They do something that's really interesting here, and I don't want to get too objectified, but I'm the pervert of the Ringer, so it's okay.
Did you give
That's
yourself
fa- by
that
the way,
title?
that's
Like,
fact. That's Sean. I don't know.
Really?
You guys- I don't know.
Really,
Wait, you're-
you know, and can I tell you something else? I would say that Mal is in the running as well.
Mal is
Like,
definitely
Mal is in the running as
fucking
Mal's
well.
not
most perverted
eligible.
person I've ever
Mal-
met.
she already-
yeah.
she like retired.
Yeah.
She's-
Right.
we had to like kick her out of the league.
So So there's something that they do, and I think it's clever the way they do it. So you look at Charlize Theron in this movie, and she looks amazing, right? You're like, who could be hotter?
Yeah.
And then Connie Nielsen is a country boy's version of what a hot New York lady is.
But crucially, she's more like seductive and chill. Like she's like, I'm part of this world. Everything you want is at your fingertips. And Charlize is like, come home and make a baby and hang out and help me choose wallpaper.
She looks like the hottest girl in your high school.
In Gainesville.
And then...
Well, she's not wearing makeup second half of the movie.
Right.
She changes her hair.
Right.
She starts getting the big bags.
Circles
I
under
actually
eyes,
like watching her unravel over the course of this movie. I think it's effective.
I like watching her unravel, but it does feel like when I watch the film now, it does feel like there just kind of wasn't enough there to me. To kind of... Because there are parts in the movie now that I'm older where I was annoyed with her because I'm like, look, I gotta go work and I gotta do all of this stuff.
Yeah.
But
they have that fight where he's just like, I'm paying, he's paying our bills.
Right.
Like I'm working for a living, like while you're home, like going nuts, but like I'm working.
See, I think Charlize is a tough hang in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
About a half hour in on. And I don't think the performance is bad though.
No.
I actually think the performance is good. I think the character is supposed to be a tough hang. So every time you see her, like,
but it's also like
another
it's
Charlize
pitched
scene.
against Pacino, who is also going 11 all the time. So it's like
It's
basically
just more fun to
as
be
a
with Pacino.
viewer, but as a viewer, there's no break. Like there's no contrast between his home life. His home life is loud and annoying. His work life is loud and like seductive. It doesn't seem
You don't
like
like when she was doing the shots in Gainesville in the beginning?
But that's the thing is that like, and then his mom blames her. She's like, oh, I bet Marianne is the one who's like pushing you to go to New York.
I do think sometimes though, and this is just a thing that I have, like I watch Mystic River.
Yeah.
And when I watch Mystic River,
fun movie.
It's a barrel of laughs, right? When I watch Mystic River, like Sean Penn in that movie gets on my nerves.
Yeah.
Because he's so emotionally
Is that my daughter in there?
Yeah, like that whole thing, it just bothers me. So a lot of times when a character is in peril for that long, to me, it starts to get a little bit grating on me.
Can I give you an unbelievable Charlize what if? Because I went in her IMDb and I was reading the trivia about her to try to figure out if there's any Devil's Advocate stuff. She turned down Showgirls. She was supposed to be the lead in Showgirls and ended up deciding not to do it because she didn't want to be typecast as like getting naked.
Okay. So
and goes the other way. And then they tell her to do the nude scene in this. And she's like, I just said no to Showgirls, but this is now Pacino and Keanu.
So let me tell you why I'm glad she turned it down.
I think it would have been a bad thing for her.
Now, I'm not talking about for her. I couldn't care less about that. Okay. Because Showgirls isn't about like the fact that the lead is naked.
Yeah.
Showgirls is about who got naked. And that's fucking Jesse from Saved by the Bell. All right.
Right.
You know what got me
So you're saying we win the trade.
It doesn't fucking matter.
We didn't need Charlize to be in that movie.
Unknown actress from South Africa comes and gets naked in Showgirls. Couldn't care less. You put fucking Jessie, Slater's girlfriend from
the
that.
South Africa piece.
You put fucking Jessie in that, and you got my pay-per-view order before.
Yeah.
I stayed home from school to watch Showgirls.
Did your dad weigh in on this?
He's like, there's another devil's
fucking
footprint.
Devil's hoof all over my remote
There's
control.
7 hoof prints.
Well, there's a whole separate story. I won't bother you guys with it, but there's a whole separate story of how the cable bill went from being a normal cable bill to being.
Yeah,
I've told you this story.
I think Bill and I know how the normal cable bill expanded.
Like literally, there was a dinner where we were all sitting down as a family. I've said this before. It's a dinner. We're all sitting down as a family. My dad goes, he to no one in particular. He goes, I noticed somebody's been ordering stuff on cable. I just want to let y'all know, it stops now. Now, let me tell you why he did this.
It's like Belichick.
Tell you why he did this.
Just going to keep throwing Belichick out
I would love to have
works.
seen the episode of The Bear that comes out of this.
He didn't know who was ordering it because my mom and him were ordering stuff and I was ordering stuff, and it was the combined pervertedness of the family that had the bill up there. He just goes, it stops. And then I stopped doing it. I had them all on tape.
What, did he do it?
Did he stop doing it? I'm not sure. I don't know. He's put the fear of God in me.
Well, how did you find out that they were also ordering movies?
because, well, how did I figure out that they
Did
were?
you like do an itemized check of the bill and we're just like, I didn't order that one?
No, my mom told me, she goes, the reason why your dad didn't whoop your ass about that
It's because we were also ordering.
Nah, she blamed it on him. And then later on when I asked him,
he was doing
he blamed it on her. And
Oh,
also,
this is great.
in 1997, Buffalo Video called the house and they said, is Van Lathan there? And I was like, yeah, this is Van Lathan. And they go, we want to let you know that Buttman's Big Butt Brazil is overdue. and I was like, what? And they were like, yeah, you need to bring it back. You've had it for like 2. I'm like, oh no, I'm Van Lathan Jr. And then the guy goes, this is a true story. And then the
Buttman's Big Butt Brazil?
Something like that. It was
Something like that.
Yeah, it was like
you're just like putting words together.
I'm just like, yeah, it's just like the guy goes, oh, I'm like, no, this is my dad. He's like, oh yeah, you might not want to tell your mom that. But yeah, like let dad know that you need to bring these videos back.
But man,
I think Buffalo. Don't Google that on the Spotify Wi-Fi.
I'm doing it.
Might not
I
been
don't say
that.
it. I don't think you got the title exact.
It was something big. It was Big Butts in Brazil or something. Shout out, rest in peace, Dad. Like it was big. It was big. And
Family members
This is
just
a great,
catching strays.
seriously, I got nothing for you guys. Just so you know, just like
What's aged the best? Don King cameos are always funny in movies.
all the New York cameos. Alphonse D'Amato,
Yeah,
Don
always
King.
good.
Don King.
Yeah.
I don't know who wins the.
Don King leaning into it that he would be friends with the devil, by the way, which
Oh,
is
yeah.
also awesome.
Who would you give the Danny McBride Award for best job playing themselves? Would you go D'Amato?
Yeah, D'Amato gets like it really into
I would go
it.
D'Amato.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm with you. on
He's
that.
like, yeah, this guy Satan's just kidding. You know, like
Van mentioned this, but the office building's amazing. The apartments are amazing.
Mhm.
I have this at What Stage the Best. I'm always there for the face switch sex scene where the person's having sex and then all of a sudden somebody else is there and they get freaked out by it. It's an effective device.
It is because it all harkens back to real life. But
harkens back to.
What else do you have for What Stage the Best?
I wanted to throw in a courtroom movie trope.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things is when a bunch of clerks bring the lawyer like a cart full of books for research, and the lawyer's like, "Where's the rest of it?"
Then they bring it back. Yeah, that is
They do
good.
that to him where he's just like, here's the health code, and they just bring him one book. He's like, "That's it," and then they're like, "Oh no." And like 3 guys come in with library carts with all the
He's
textbooks.
missing his 2 sidekick people that they always have in these
Yeah,
movies,
the
like
Kevin
in Primal
Pollak and
Fear.
Demi Moore
Yeah,
thing.
or the Moore Tierney and
Andre Brower.
yeah.
you know what aged the best for me? Like DOJ investigations, shredding paper stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's
90s New York City.
90s New York City DOJ stuff. Now every time DOJ is investigating, it's one of the first movies where it's like, oh, the Department of Justice is looking us up.
The Kid Cudi Pursuit of Happiness Award for Best Needle Drop is the ending. All of a sudden, Painted Black kicks in. That's great.
That's got to be because there's really not
Yeah.
another one.
There's no real music. Big Kahuna Burger, Best Use of Food and Drink. It's got to be the voodoo meat, right?
Fuck no.
Super scary meat. When is meat scary in a
Super
movie?
Scary
It's
meat.
like, what the hell's going to happen
And
with
he's
this
kind of
meat?
taking 20-year-old Van's like idea of like, yeah, well, everybody has their weird ways of going about butchering meat. This guy did it in his house.
I'll tell you what though, that part of it is not, and I don't want to. That part of it is not that scary to me because I'm from South Louisiana.
Yeah.
Sure.
So
Okay.
it's like
So you go with the shots, the 6 shots in Gainesville.
No,
What would you go with?
she is painting her house.
Yeah.
And she's got what looks to be a 4-piece from Popeyes.
Oh, that's right.
That's
yeah.
when
She's
you
in
know,
that.
that's
yeah.
when you know this motherfucker
Great call,
is a
man.
fine ass. She takes a whole breast
Great call.
and puts it in her mouth as she's like Popeye. She's a Southern girl. She's a Popeye chicken eater.
New category. The Jimmy Conway Award for Best or Worst Smoking. Because we keep coming up with smoking in these rewatchables.
It's gotta be Keanu, right?
Keanu tries to smoke 2 cigarettes during this movie.
I think
he
Keanu
smokes in
actually
real
does
life.
smoke.
But he's trying to
Does
make it
not-
seem like the character doesn't know how to smoke.
Yeah.
So he's got this weird angle. But like I read the Premiere magazine about this, and they're saying how he's just sucking down American spirits the whole interview. So he definitely smokes.
Yeah, there's pictures of him smoking. I think pretty recently.
Yeah, he 100% smokes. So I think he's making this weird character choice of the guy's a bad smoker because he picked it up.
Well, because he's quit and now he's gone back on because he tells
I don't like it. I don't like how he's holding it.
He tells Marianne he's just like, I had one cigarette in 6 months.
Well, it doesn't mean
he's smoked so many cigarettes that it looks like it's just his 6th finger.
Yeah.
Like he's just holding it. It's just
one of our great smokers.
The Den of Thieves Benihana Award for scene stealing location. I mean, you could pick 7 New York locations for this, right? I mean, maybe, what would you say, the Trump apartment?
Oh, I would
for
just
how
go
garish it is? Or the roof?
The roof is one.
Roof.
The roof is probably the coolest one.
And I think that Great Shot Gordo is the empty 5th Avenue or whatever.
I had that one as well.
I know you said it was the Infinity.
Like, is there any intel on whether or not they cleared out that entire New York street to get that shot of day? I guess
I have that coming up.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Butch's Girlfriend Award for weak link of the film. I think CR said it already. It's some of the special effects are just goofy now. And it's weird because the roof works.
Stuff.
All the demons like merging into each other. It's just like, it
it's
feels
kinda,
old. It feels very 1997
cool
to me.
If like everything was sort of like, oh, like was he having visions, or these homeless guys just beat him up?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Or was she just freaking out in the dressing room? And instead they lay it on thick with like the face changing. Although I think it is pretty effective when she's in the institution at the end and she kills herself.
The movie becomes so fundamentally a different movie when it leans all the way into the supernatural part.
Yeah.
Because now it's like all of these people are actually demons. So everyone that works at his firm knows that he's the devil, or select people know. But for whatever reason,
The Ringer.
Yeah. Like,
people find out about me eventually.
but then like they're showing this to her because they need her to off herself so that he can then have the Antichrist, the union.
Incestuous.
But you know what's crazy about the special effects? I would rather have that as what aged the worst than
than some sort of plot thing
than a
that
weak
can't
link,
be fixed.
because
yeah.
It never bothered me until special effects got better. Like, I was actually.
So what would you have for the weak link?
Interesting. I'd have to think. The accents in the movie are pretty bad. The Delroy Lindo accent.
Keanu's Southern accents.
Oh,
his
I had
Southern
that
outfit.
number 1 for what's age the worst, which is the next category.
I guess, yeah. So interchangeable.
Accents.
Yeah.
The 90s were just really weird with accents.
It's also
this
like,
could be its own separate spin-off rewatchable pods of just the accents that didn't work.
where
in
they're
movies.
shooting. They're obviously like probably shooting out of order for a variety of reasons, but like it just feels like
It kicks up
you
some
can
scenes.
tell when somebody like either the story supervisor or Hackford or somebody has gone up to them and been like, you know, we need you to remember you guys are from the South, so like jack up the Southern accents. And then sometimes they're just like, it's just Keanu Reeves talking.
Yeah.
You know?
Blood Diamond had this too with Leo. Certain scenes, he's got that kicking accent.
That's a funny one though. Like that, the Blood Diamond, the Leo accent.
He's Rhodesian.
Is a, hey, got some like that.
Yeah.
That is really hilarious to me. By the way, like, I don't know if they spend any time in Gainesville, but like you can go to Gainesville or
And
go
you're
to,
like normal people talk.
I mean, yeah, it's like, you know, I'm from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He can be from Gainesville and not fucking sound like Elmer Fudd or something like that.
I think he was trying to dial up the gentleman Southern lawyer
for sure.
bit.
The gentleman Southern lawyer, or the I'm now in New York situation.
Fish out of water.
Yeah, fish out of water joint.
I have a what's age the worst.
I can't wait.
The idea of Craig T. Nelson having sex for 3.5 hours before Viagra.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
When that's like his entire alibi. Now, obviously, it falls apart. But like that's the premise of the case, is like he's basically boning his assistant for 3+ hours.
Yeah, that's, if you were like 19, I can see it.
Yeah. I mean, what? Like, let's just be real.
Y'all not giving rounds around here?
No,
y'all
I'm
not
just
giving
saying,
rounds?
3.5 hours is a long time.
That's fucking
That's
long,
an overtime
dog.
football game.
Yeah, that's like
This guy was like
Spartacus.
52.
Look, here's when Van has to act like he's super. Nah, man. It's like, you know, I'll do it between the commercials.
Would have been a funny counter after.
Yeah.
Mr. Whatever. What was his name? Cohen?
Colin.
3.5 hours. Let's walk through that.
Yeah, let's
exactly.
walk through that. Tell us.
Yeah.
How much of that was foreplay? I have for what's age the worst, and this is a 90s thing that doesn't happen anymore, when somebody's drinking coffee in the morning and then they see a headline from a newspaper and they're like, shit! That never happens anymore. What's the equivalent of that now? Like Apple News?
It's
Like, you're
getting
just
a
looking at your
notification.
phone like,
Getting a
oh,
notification.
shit!
Yeah,
It's
it's
actually-
like looking at your phone and
I missed
like,
the newspaper.
getting
Like,
a
wait, what?
notification.
Shit!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eddie Barzoon's jogging we covered. It's just some of the worst jogging we've ever seen in a movie. This is kind of mean, but I'm just gonna do it. Pacino's teeth are just disarming in this movie.
They are.
I don't know what happened, and
Is it a character choice or is it an Al Pacino choice?
I went as far as to go Google Al Pacino heat smiling.
Big butts in Brazil.
No, I didn't.
No,
I didn't Google that.
Yeah,
I Googled Al Pacino heat smiling and looked at his teeth. And then I looked at his teeth in this movie, and he must have gotten like this extra thing of veneers that he looks like almost like Matt Dillon in There's Something About Mary. Like, it's really disarming. He's just got this giant fucking...
And it's obvious that he wanted to show him off, because this is the only time I've ever noticed it, because there's a bunch of shots where the camera's right in his mug and he's doing that big devil smile.
Yeah.
And
so you think he added him?
I just don't know if it's a character choice. Like, they were like, the devil would have a fake smile. Like
a big devil
or
smile.
Or he got caps, and then they were like, oh man, Al, those caps are kicking. Right. Like, after the movie, you got to like scale those back
you got to
bit.
shave them down a little bit.
But yeah, those things, really disarming. Van, this is for you, for What's Age the Worst. There's a deleted scene where Marianne is looking for Kevin at Eddie Barzoon's party, and someone redirects her to the library, and she finds 3 people engaged in a threesome and leaves when they invite her to join in. And they cut it, I guess, for time. But it was kind of part of why Marianne was so suspicious of everybody.
Oh, yeah.
They're having sex in the whole situation.
Just throwing a threesome out. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, but
maybe would have kept that.
You should probably leave that in the movie.
That's what I'm saying. What else you got for What's Age the Worst? Anything?
No, I was just talking about earlier, like, I feel like the accents aged the worst for me. Really, Eddie Barzoon's whole character was, like, it aged pretty badly to me.
Just seeing Jeffrey Jones in a movie has aged the worst.
That's kind of the thing.
For the people listening, he was the principal in Ferris Bueller. He became famous for it. He was that guy for 20 years.
He's in Hunt for October.
And then went to jail for some pretty bad stuff.
Yeah.
And it's when I see him now, I just think of it, right?
That's
it's like
kind of
it's one of those things. You're like, oh, that guy.
Right.
Ron Burgundy flew to word best time for a pee break. There's a few candidates for this. I don't even know how to narrow it down. I think
Milton and Marianne talking at the party is like, it goes on for a very long time.
You're good with it after a while?
Yeah, I'm like, I can skip this scene. I get what's going on here.
I'm for when she's like painting and eating the chicken.
Definitely.
That's like
no.
I know you love that part.
No.
Screensaver.
Not the chicken part. The
painting.
The going back and forth with the lady where
no, but there's like a cool scene.
What's the cool scene?
It's so you were saying about the color coordination of the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse and Pacino's wearing
that's why
green.
They have that?
So she's like, keeps trying to paint the thing green, and Jackie's like, that's not you. Like, she's almost trying to save her a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. I didn't get that.
That's it. That was my reading of like, she keeps trying to insist that she's painting it green.
That's why
she's
CR. I'm like, can we get to the shit?
Great work, CR.
Yeah. Thanks. You know, I try.
Was there a better title for this movie? No.
Well, but is there a title for this movie, and is there a way to have marketed this film where it's a twist surprise ending instead of
not Devil's Advocate?
Yeah, like if it's just like
so you call it Paradise Lost or something?
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, or
like the Tubi title.
Yeah, or like, you know, lawyer for the defense, like the last defense or something like that. You know, like something that's just like, oh, what's this about?
Last defense.
It's like calling it Primal Fear and not like
this guy turns into a different guy at the end of the movie.
If the movie's on Tubi, then the title of the movie is "Damn, Your Daddy is the Devil," and I'm watching that shit.
Best quote: "Vanity, definitely my favorite sin." I like that, but I really like "I'm the hand up Mona Lisa's skirt."
That's the most.
I'm a surprise. They don't see me coming.
Yeah,
that is
it's like Bill Belichick.
What's going on?
I'm just kidding.
He's laughing his sick fucking ass off. It's definitely that speech.
Yeah, that's the killer quote of the movie.
He's an absentee landlord. I have a hottest take for you guys. I think Keanu is the greatest bad actor of the last 35 years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure he's a good actor. I've never known where I landed on it. I see him in scenes. Sometimes when he tries to act, it's funny. He can't really do accents. There's a charisma about him. I always feel like somebody could have played the part better, but I genuinely love him. And it wasn't until John Wick that he kind of figured out who he was, where it just like I got to strip this down.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying too hard. I feel like the 90s and the 2000s, it's mostly him trying too hard in all these different roles. And then like most famously Dracula. He was
That being
terrible.
said, he's a top 5 movie star of the 90s.
I would say he's a top like 7 movie star of the last 35 years, right?
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yes.
That's why
There's
he's
some,
the
there's
greatest
some
bad
gaps.
actor.
Let me tell you what works about him though.
A lot of things work about him.
What works about him is this, and you wouldn't think that this would work for an actor, but if you can do it to the level that he does it, it actually does work. What works is this aggressive and historic blankness to where he occupies a space
Yeah.
and it looks like the things that are happening around him really could be happening around him. Like you bring up John Wick. I also think that this blankness is the reason why Neo works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if all of that stuff is happening, if it's happening to anybody else, you're expecting some type of visceral freak out to a place to where it's going to disrupt the entire fucking structure of the Matrix movie. It's going to disrupt everything about the lore and the mythology of it. But because he is blank, almost unaffected, almost incapable of rising to like a certain dramatic point, it doesn't take you out of that, and you think it's happening to the right guy. In that movie, you think it's happening to the right guy. In John Wick, you think it's happening to the right guy. In this movie, you think this is happening to the right dude because this dude is so out of sorts that he can't get to the point that either of us would get to, because we would start to go like, what the fuck is going on? But
So you're saying there's a cluelessness about him that actually works.
There's a cluelessness about him and about his performance and things that actually kind of work. And it started with obviously he's clueless in Point Break, but also like in Parenthood. You know what I mean? To where he's just like,
he's good in Parenthood.
He's good because he's so.
I preface that by saying I love Keanu.
He's
I
great.
just
I mean,
don't
like,
think he's a great actor.
No, I get what you mean, but I think there is something in his performance that is kind of like there's a charisma there.
Yeah, I think it's like it depends on the character that he's playing. So like, you know, if you watch him in Private Idaho, The Matrix, Point Break, Speed, there is like that kind of like surfer dude Californian blankness that works. And then if you put him in Much Ado About Nothing, or you make him a scientist in Chain Reaction,
or the hardball, the gambling little league coach.
Yeah,
we did hardball.
He just can't quite get there. You just would like that. I love that movie.
Yeah,
but like this movie right here, if you had somebody who was like I don't know who's in this,
well, okay, but here's the crucial question: is whether or not Lomax is actually. And I was going to save this for the unanswerable questions, but is Lomax a good lawyer? Because Lomax, throughout the film, is benefiting from having visions, or who like Delroy Lindo like chokes out the prosecutor, right? And like at every point in the sort of proceedings, he's assisted by the devil himself. He makes the choices, but I don't know that he ever like is like that brilliant of a lawyer in this movie, right?
I think that
first scene he is.
You're led to believe that he is, and then at the end, they want to kind of de-special him.
Well, yeah, because they go back and they say this was actually all in his head.
Right,
this was his biggest choice,
and
the temptation.
He's only actually special, and which is what the devil is trying to tell him. You only actually matter if you have sex with your sister and create the Antichrist. Everything else was me. So I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know that on his own merit that he's like such a good lawyer. You know what I mean? But but back to Keanu though, I think that sometimes for action stars or guys that are in movies that everybody, I think Paul Walker kind of had that same thing.
Oh, he won it. That's why Fast and Furious was a Point Break ripoff.
It was
Paul Walker was Keanu.
Yeah.
I love that Keanu existed because I think we specifically need actors like this.
Yeah,
not everybody can just be Daniel Day-Lewis, you know? Like I love The Replacements. I wouldn't say he's like an Oscar contender
but
for The Replacements,
for that movie.
but he's
perfect for the role.
Really fun to watch that movie. Anyway, casting what if. So they almost made this movie in '94 with Joel Schumacher and Brad Pitt.
I would have liked to have seen this version of the movie.
Schumacher planned a sequence in which Pitt would descend into the New York subway system, which would be modeled on the circles of hell in Dante's Divine Comedy. They couldn't find an actor to play Satan. The project collapsed.
If Brad Pitt is in this movie, he gets nominated for Best Actor.
It's better. He's better than Keanu.
Like if he's in this movie, the movie is like
I think same
different.
for Johnny Depp too. Johnny Depp at this point in his career, I think he would have been really good. Pacino turned this movie down 5 times. It would had more visual effects and was more blockbustery, and they kept rewriting it. And after Keanu chose to do it, he agreed to a pay cut so Pacino, they could pay him to be in it because that's how badly he wanted to be with Pacino. And that's what happened. And then Charlize almost didn't do it because the same reason she didn't do Showgirls and ended up doing it.
I just thought about one other devil performance that sticks out in my mind. Nicholson in The Witches of East.
Oh, yeah.
Ruffalo Hannah Rubinek Partridge Overacting Award. I can give you Craig T. Nelson. I can give you the Southern accent reporter guy from the beginning.
Larry.
I can give you all the times Keanu tries to dial it up. I could just give you Pacino for the whole movie. What do you got, CR?
I've got Charlize. What are we talking about?
Absolutely.
Okay.
She's going nuts.
Okay. Best That Guy Award. I can give you Machine. Is Jeffrey Jones the that guy?
I say yes.
Yeah.
I think he's Jeffrey Jones. I think he's because of the
Stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe.
The doorman from the Jeffersons, Paul Benedict. Is he that guy or is he Paul Benedict?
I think he's that guy.
And your lady from
Tamara
Law and
Tooney,
Order
yeah.
SVU.
Yeah.
Who I didn't know her name. I mean, Machine always wins for me, Van.
I think Machine has to win. I think he's one of the enduring that guys of my life.
I can't top that.
He is.
What do you have, CR?
For that guy?
Yeah.
I'll go with Machine.
Do you know who else could kind of be a that guy? I don't know what else I've seen him in, but the guy on the subway that he tells to go kill his wife's lover.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen that dude in a bunch of shit. I should look him up.
Chris Bauer is now in Heels. He was in Survivor's Remorse. He was in 81 episodes of True Blood. But then if you go back to this late 90s run he had when he officially became that guy, he's in Face Off, The Devil's Advocate, 8mm, High Fidelity, and 61.
Who is he in
High Fidelity?
He played Paul, apparently. So great run. He's Machine to me, though.
He's a deleted scene. I've seen that movie dozens of times. I don't remember him being in it.
Deion Waiters Award. Biggest hot check. Deion Waiters, rumors of a possible NBA comeback. I don't know if you saw the story. Yeah, it was on Hoops Hype the other day. Deion's thinking of coming back.
Deion, shout out to Deion Waiters, man. Deion Waiters was talking about a lot of the things that dogged him during his NBA career, and he feels like he's gotten over them, and he might be able to get back into the league.
It was
It'd be great for
I
the
would love it
Rewatchables.
if you start citing Hoops Hype just all the time on the Rewatchables.
So I can give you for Deion Waiters, I can give you Machine, I can give you Delroy Lindo, or I can give you horny Asian elevator lady.
Giselle from Paris. From Paris.
Hey, bro.
I also, how about
Giselle was cooking, baby.
What about Judith Ivey as the mom?
She
makes me uncomfortable.
So I
don't enjoy the mom.
I should have mentioned her for what age the worst, and I hate that character.
I don't like it either.
I hate that. Like I hate that character.
I'm gonna go Delroy.
Recasting couch. Let's get Jeffrey Jones the fuck out of this movie. How about Robert Ridgely, aka the Colonel?
As
Eddie Barzoon?
Eddie Barzoon?
Yeah.
Yeah. Trying to think of 97 who would be a good Barzoon.
Philip Baker Hall?
No, I think you need somebody a little bit more likely to jog.
As an Eddie Barzoon. I had
William H. Macy?
Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad as Eddie Barzoon.
Yeah.
He's a little swarmy at that point.
Half-ass internet research.
I have another recasting couch.
Go.
I have Tom Skerritt as Cullen.
Oh yeah.
Tom Skerritt.
Yeah.
You like it? Like going a little heel?
Going a little heel. I love
like
Skerritt. You guys fuck with Skerritt?
Fuck yeah.
And who did we say would have been better than Keanu and gotten an Oscar nomination?
Brad Pitt.
Yeah. Half-ass internet research. There's a whole copyright
You guys,
lawsuit.
there's nobody you would recast as Milton. Because there was rumors about Redford. And
No. Redford would be awful.
Redford wouldn't have worked. The reason why I thought about the Jack Nicholson thing earlier is because Nicholson would have worked.
Well, he could have done the speeches for sure.
Yeah,
Nicholson would have worked.
Half-ass internet research. There's a whole copyright lawsuit about one of the sculptures in the film, and they had to edit out of future releases.
The one at the end, the big one.
Yeah, go Google it if you're interested. The outdoor patio in John Milton's office was on the 50th floor of a New York City building. The actual stage was 8 feet away from the edge of the building, and then they used special effects. That was an actual Roy Jones Jr. fight.
Yeah, they
in
shot
the
it
movie.
at the
October
Garden, right?
4th, 1996. Roy Jones was our IBF super middleweight champion. He squared off against a top contender named Brian Brannon.
Mm-hmm.
What happened, Van?
You beat the shit out of him, like he beat the shit out of everybody when he was in his prime.
He knocked him out in round 2.
By the way, just to let you know, that is one of the things that aggravated me the most about this movie. Like, Lomax doesn't know fucking shit about boxing. He's standing up there rooting for the other guy.
Right.
Who's food for Roy Jones Jr.
Nobody is not rooting for Roy Jones
who
Jr.
at his height was unfucking.
He was the guy.
Stoppable.
Mid-90s, he was the guy.
Was at 168, he probably was at that time.
Yeah.
It was unstoppable. He's like, oh my God. It's like, of course Roy's going to win. They don't have cable down there in Gainesville?
Dumbass. Connie Nielsen had only been in America for a month when she landed the part. When Lomax, when he walks through the street and there's nobody there, it was shot on a Sunday at 7:30 a.m. and they cleared out 57th Street.
What you New York people who know a lot about New York, like what is that situation?
That entails a lot.
Yeah,
'Cause
that's
New York
a lot
never
of
really sleeps.
Yeah.
There's always going to be action. Yeah.
So at the end, when John Milton morphs into Lucifer, they used life masks from Keanu and Pacino in 97 and then Pacino in The Godfather and mixed all this stuff
Whoa.
together so his face would move. The famous Rick Baker was involved.
Yeah.
Wow, legend.
How about that?
The John Williams of makeup, or maybe John Williams is the Rick Baker of music.
Apex Mountain. I don't have any actor from this movie as an Apex Mountain.
I was just going to ask if it's Apex Mountain for Satan on film.
I have that.
I had that as well.
That's what I have.
I think it is.
For the devil on film, for Satan on film.
Actual devil, not demons.
No, it's a guy playing Satan. A guy,
It's
a
this,
person playing Satan.
It's I guess Devil and Daniel Webster, and then it's Louis Cypher.
How about scary roof scenes?
Scary roof scenes?
I hadn't really thought about that.
I know, yeah. Scary.
There's been like some Inception stuff. I don't think
They got
so.
roof scenes that I could think of, but like scary roof scenes, maybe not.
Roy Jones Jr., I'm going to say yes. It's the height of his powers
Yeah.
right around now.
What about Y'all Must Have Forgot? Y'all not tapped in.
I'm
Y'all
not
know
tapped
that?
in. I don't know what you're talking about.
Y'all know about Y'all Must Have Forgot? You never
Who's
heard that
that?
joint?
Is that his song?
Y'all never heard Roy get down?
No, I don't know that one.
How I knocked Virgil Hill out with a body shot. Y'all must have
I don't
forgot.
know that.
Well, obviously, we're more familiar with his work in Devil's Advocate, so
I'm
that's
telling
probably
you.
his Apex Mountain.
Alphonse D'Amato?
He had probably some bills pass
Yeah.
that
He
were
was a
more
senator.
greater accomplishments than
Okay.
this. Yeah.
Don King?
Hey, nah, Don King's
I'm gonna say
Apex
no.
Mountain.
How about
Stealing.
boning your assistant while your family gets murdered? Would you put this in there?
Probably as a plot point or as like an actual act of.
Yeah, that's definitely the Apex Mountain. for that.
How about Charlize Theron eating chicken? I'm going to say probably
Yes.
yes. I don't
Apex
remember
Mountain for
another scene where
Unless
she's got a
that got
4-piece.
cut out of Fury Road, you know.
I gotta videotape
One-arm
that and
chicken
send it
eating.
to House and just see what he thinks. It's two things he loves. Best racehorse name.
Fan of Man.
Fan of Man was good. I had Barzoon.
Barzoon's great.
Like,
That's a great one.
Barzoon
That
was
one wins. Picking nits. So, you know, it is courtroom month. The speed of these cases are just flying by. Would have loved a little more courtroom
Did
time.
the Cullen case get dismissed?
Cullen case just goes. He's
Yeah.
like, oh, yeah,
He also gets like every time he's like, "Can I get a recess?" The judge is like, "For sure."
you got it,
Yeah.
Lomax.
By the way, he literally put something in with no discovery.
Yeah.
And the judge goes, I'll allow it.
Yeah. The notes from
The notes from the
Barbara.
thing.
Yeah.
We're going to at least have to have a recess in that situation
Yeah.
so that you give the
Yeah.
prosecution an opportunity to look over it if the judge allow it.
This is not the most faithful courtroom movie.
Yeah.
Kevin Lomax, horrible husband. Just floating that out there for picking nits.
That's a nitpick. Yeah.
Yeah, just like go home a little more often.
I got a nit.
Yeah.
The mom fucks the devil in...
I have this.
1960.
Okay.
No, I have it.
So
Go.
67.
The mom fucks the devil in 67, 68, whatever. Comes back up to New York.
Summer of Love, you know?
Summer of love. She's having sex with the devil. He puts her whatever, and like she doesn't.
No, there's no change.
There's no change. You know what I mean? It's
She's
like
back at church on Sunday.
back at church. She fucks the devil. She has this. Does she know? I have so many questions about this. Did she know that she fucked the devil, or did
I think she's always worried about it. that's why she's so religious.
I think
She's
this
always
was in the running
worried-
for a weak link of the movie for me. Is that just the mom's relationship with Pacino and how it evolved, and was she worried about her son? And
does
she
he
should
look
be a
like
little more villain.
Panic in Eagle Needle Park Al Pacino when he has sex with her, or has he always looked like old Al Pacino?
oh,
See what I'm saying?
that's a good unanswerable question.
Well, he was a waiter at the time.
Right.
So,
So
was
old
he,
Al Pacino being your waiter, you'd be like, "What's up with you? What happened to your life?" You
you
know?
know, and then she looks at him and she recognizes him and like, say, hey, just to let you know that guy that you're working for, like that's your dad. Like she waits.
Some unanswerable questions.
Yeah.
Good call. I don't like in the ending when Keanu says, "Cut the shit, Dad," to Pacino. It's like, you're going to call him Dad now? What's going on here?
His father you never had.
Let's talk about the ending. Pacino turns.
Yep.
So it all turns out to be the Bobby Ewing in Dallas. Oh my God. I was just staring in the mirror and all this stuff happened in my head. But then at the end, Pacino, the reporter, morphs into Pacino at the tail
like
end.
he's still watching over him. Well, it would stand
what
to
did that
reason
mean?
that Satan is still present, but what he's doing is testing him. He's always testing him.
I had a thought here.
Why?
Yeah.
I have one too. You go first,
You go
though.
first.
Okay. Well, my thing is both in the satanic fantasy that happens when he looks in the mirror, and then when they go back to reality. Larry, the journalist, does not wash his hands after urinating.
Jesus Christ, Larry.
It's just a nitpick.
Hep. Larry.
These are the things you notice when you watch a movie 3 times.
My thought was this.
Do you wash your hands every time after you like pee in a public place, right?
Yeah. I mean,
But you never forget, right?
I went
Because
through.
I always my biggest fear is just forgetting one time, and then it's like, I was in this bathroom with Bill Simmons and he didn't wash his
yeah.
hands. I'm like,
Yeah.
so I'm always like, I
Yeah.
always wash my hands.
I went through a Howard Hughes phase
Hmm.
where I was washing my shit, trying to get because of germs and stuff.
Sure.
But also I'm more obsessed with shaking it out so I don't have that little droplet.
Yeah.
Right.
Because like you know
That last one.
that little droplet. But I have a thought about this. I have a thought that this is on a loop. That he's gonna keep trying
It's like Groundhog Day.
Keanu until he gets him.
Because what's the significance? He takes the wedding ring off, right?
Right.
Yeah, and that's like the inception kind of like token that shows that he's in the.
So if Keanu wouldn't have blown his brains out
Yeah.
and he would have had sex with her and they would have had the Antichrist, then we would have never gone back to the courtroom. But him blowing his brains out, Milton then, because remember, we already say he's in limbo. So I thought about this so much last night that Kalika made me go to sleep. Like he's already in limbo. When he walks down the street and there's nobody on the street, he's in a different dimensional plane. If he agrees to do it, then things keep moving forward. But because he said no and blew his brains out, he gets sent back to Gainesville and Milton is going to try him again, this time in a different way.
Do we even do the hottest take ones, or did we just get distracted by asking if you asked Stephen A. Smith about it?
I did one, but then you guys
Well,
didn't
the
do
hottest take is like once Marianne is dead, are you just better off taking the devil's offer and being like the chief attorney general for Satan with a hot half-sister girlfriend, and you just run the
trying to raise the Antichrist?
Yeah.
Trying to raise Dame Omen?
Or you could go back to Gainesville and sling Saturns because you're going to get disbarred.
This is the sequel.
He's like, you know what?
This is the sequel. Growing up devil. Yeah. Like them raising a little boy, grandpappy, Satan, and the whole nine. This is the sequel.
It's like the Omen crossed with blank. I had this in Unanswerable, but so this movie's filmed in 96. Florida was in the Sugar Bowl. They beat Florida State 52-21. Steve Spurrier era.
Yeah.
Next year won the Citrus Bowl, beat Penn State 21-6. It's a nice little run. Orange Bowl the year after, beat Syracuse. I think it would have been tough to leave Gainesville unless the devil was tempting you.
So
great spot.
So here's the thing, and
isn't that where Florida University is?
It's in Gainesville, yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, for me personally, like Florida football could never win another game ever again in life, and I would be okay with it.
Yeah.
Like, when I say
so, this is the perfect setting for you.
They could go 0 for the rest of eternity.
Yeah.
And I would be okay.
Okay.
For Spurrier's crimes, as an LSU fan, when we're down something like 40 points, and they run a fake punt in Tiger Stadium.
Yeah.
Like they were.
He's the ball coach, though.
They were. I don't fuck him. They were like they were pretty unstoppable unless they went up against Nebraska. They got that ass handed to them, but they were pretty unstoppable for that time. Warfel, fucking all of those guys
Danny
hanging
Warfel.
around.
You have any more pick and nits?
Another really random one, but in the first courtroom scene, when the prosecutor is done, first he asks, Barbara the questions. He takes off his glasses and he just throws them on the table where Keanu Reeves is sitting. And I was always just like, what, you gotta go get your glasses, man. What are you doing? It's a really random gesture.
It's funny. Sequel, prequel, prestige TV, all black cast are untouchable. This is a pretty obvious prestige TV show to me, but I also don't know if I'd watch it. It feels like the kind of thing like Showtime would do. And I would decide it in like the first two actors that they picked. And I'd be like, I'm out. Good try, guys.
I'm mildly interested in the prequel.
So in 2014, Andrew Niederman wrote a prequel novel called Judgment Day and then tried to make a TV series out of it. And John Wells and Arnold Kopelson, who were two pretty big dudes, could not get it off the ground for NBC in 2014.
Oh, NBC, it would be fucking terrible. Like, you don't want it to go there. Like, you want it to, yeah.
That should have been like HBO or Starz.
The juice of this movie is how depraved it is.
Yeah.
Can you walk us through all black cast, Devil's Advocate for like 20 seconds?
Okay, let's do it. All black cast, are we going in 97?
Let's say now, remake, 23.
So the John Milton is Samuel L. Jackson. That's a pretty easy one. I would say,
what if you flipped it and Viola Davis was Jane Milton?
That works.
Oh,
that works.
Kind of fun.
That's a great idea.
That works. That's probably how it would be done too. Like, that works. I like that.
Female devil. I like it.
Because then it's like,
I feel like Zazie Beetz is in this movie.
Zazie Beetz is his wife.
Charlize. She's Charlize.
Either Zazie Beetz
or she could be the
Tessa
lawyer.
Thompson.
She could be. We could just gender flip it.
Oh, you do the whole thing?
All black cast gender flip.
Oh, and then whoa. We woke as fuck. Let's do it.
Let's take the meeting. Let's just talk it out.
Let's do it. We going to the Golden Gloves.
So who's the husband then?
Lena Waithe got to come in and produce? Let's shout out to Lena. Shout out. That's a joke.
Who's Zazie's husband
The
then?
husband's got to be, so Zazie's husband has to be somebody like
Lawrence from
Perfect.
I feel like this is now, we needed to zhuzh up this category a little bit, and I think it's incumbent on each Rewatchables panelist to try and go
just on the cuff.
Like 4 for 4, like prestige all black gender swap. Come on.
But let me tell you,
put me in the fucking Hall of Fame for that.
So let me tell you what we could do. So now the hot Connie Nielsen character is an interesting one because we can go straight up. We can go hot guy for them to have the baby, or
it's hot guy.
You just want to go hot guy? Want to go hot guy?
You gotta have.
Who loves hot guy parts right now? MBJ.
Jay Ellis plays Marianne. He's freaking out at home.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Like he's the one who's just like, I moved up here for you, baby.
But let me tell you why that might be a problem.
Okay.
Because they're not gonna go for that on Twitter.
Okay.
They're not gonna go for this. Isaiah knows. Isaiah knows. They're not gonna go for him as trying to stand in the way of her career advancement.
We've done that
before. Isaiah knows. Look at this trifling ass motherfucker. She's a lawyer, but she's got to work. Duh. So they're not gonna go for that. But you do the Jay Ellis role, but maybe somebody less. Maybe a little bit more of an
someone
everyman.
with a less contentious background.
Yeah. No, there's a little bit more of an everyman.
How about Jason Tatum as the Connie Nielsen character? Just his first act performance. I'm just thinking of like handsome athlete.
He's 6'8". He comes along the whole nine.
Women in Boston fainting in the stands when Drake brought him out in the Boston concert earlier this week.
That's a lot of beige, man. Those two guys together, they can't. You know what I'm saying? That's just gonna overflow the ladies. Shout out to Drake and Jason, man.
So you don't want Denzel in this movie. You'd want Sam Jackson.
I think
if we did the non-gender
Sam needs
swap.
Sam needs a
I like the
Deep
Viola
Blue
Davis
Sea
idea
type
though.
movie
Cool.
after.
I'd love to see her in a movie where she just fucking cooked and had fun.
Where
we're like, oh, Viola had fun.
This is my hope for the Amanda Waller series because Amanda Waller is a big time villain.
She's so
in
chill.
DC.
She's so
she is kind of chill.
I want to see her just be like I'm a fan of man. Yeah.
Just think about her giving that same one. That's actually a good idea.
Is this movie better with Wayne Jenkins, Danny Trejo, Catherine Hahn, Steve Buscemi, Sam Jackson, J.T. Walsh, or Philip Baker Hall? We just had the Sam Jackson. What do you think, CR?
I mean, I was wondering that Sam Jackson's good, but like if you're panning across in that last scene in Milton's apartment or his office, you know, and it's Milton, it's Lomax, it's Christabella. And then Wayne Jenkins is just standing by the bar and he goes, "God damn, Kevin! I didn't know you were the Prince of Darkness. I myself play a character with a complicated family situation and FX is the bear. I ain't never take a run at my half-sister, though. They send you away a long fucking time for that, big boy."
Wayne wins again. Wayne always wins. Just one Oscar. Who gets it? Pacino?
Yeah, or Tony. I wouldn't mind.
I gave it to the script.
Dapping up Tony for those speeches.
I like it.
I gave it to the script. You know what? There was a thought, because I wouldn't give any of them. There was a thought maybe that this is a well-directed movie. It's a well-paced movie.
Yeah. I wouldn't go best director Oscar.
Yeah. But maybe the script.
Probably unanswerable questions.
I don't want to get too complicated here.
For probably unanswerable questions.
But if they had stunt cast Trump as Cullen, does Trump become president?
Wow.
Does he have then like another, like, I'm doing my acting thing?
How about does he become president sooner?
Oh, God, I don't think so.
Maybe he runs in fucking 2000. I don't know. Oh, you're saying if Trump caught the acting bug?
Yes. And then Hollywood was like, let's let this guy play like the colonel in like the Situation Room or whatever. Like he has like
it's like a reverse Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
He just starts acting.
Yeah. And he's too busy acting.
Maybe.
Who knows?
It's a good one. It's good unanswerable.
Actually, yeah.
You already, and the other unanswerable question I had was, what does this film say about Gator fans?
Right.
And you kind of
I went a little darker. Does the Antichrist really come from half siblings having sex with each other? I thought it was a jackal.
It's usually a product. Well, there's a lot of product of incest stuff. Yeah.
I don't know. I just need a better definition for. So I'm ready when we have an Antichrist.
I never knew.
Is it incest? Are there animals involved? What's going on?
Like you thought it was a jackal. Like, so as long as the jackal doesn't fuck. Yeah,
that was in the Omen.
Yeah.
Right.
His mother was a jackal.
I never knew that the Antichrist. I never knew where he or she, because we always assume it's going to be a man. Okay, misandry. I never knew where the Antichrist really had to be. I thought that the Antichrist does it have to come from a specific lineage?
Well, I thought the Antichrist was the child of Satan. I didn't think it was. So that's why in this movie,
no, it is the child of Satan.
But they're talking about the grandchild of Satan.
But right, so in this, if that was the case,
so they took some liberties. But doesn't the Antichrist also have to have 666 somewhere in its head?
Right,
you got to like cut the head out. That's what they do in Dame Omen.
But I thought the Antichrist.
Dame Omen.
I'm sure I've seen the Omen a lot. I've shortened the nickname.
I didn't know that the Antichrist was. I just thought it was the person that would unite the armies of the earth against God. I didn't know that it was a specific lineage.
Need more Antichrist. I
think we just all need to settle on a definition.
You know what we should do? And I guess they try to do this in Little Nicky, but we should do like a lighthearted comedy about a kid that's actually the Antichrist, but he gets adopted by a nice family.
And he doesn't want to be the Antichrist.
And he doesn't want to be the Antichrist.
He's rejecting it.
He doesn't want to be the Antichrist. He's like, I don't want to cause revelations.
He's not the Antichrist in Hereditary. He's just a demon coming in. Yeah.
They rarely go full Antichrist in a movie.
They did.
Usually they go demon, but every once in a while they'll have an Antichrist.
Omen was Antichrist, and then they had
Rosemary's is Antichrist, right?
Antichrist, Omega Code.
The child of the devil. Yeah.
My second piece ever for ESPN.com was called "Is Roger Clemens the Antichrist?"
Roger Clemens.
Roger
Clemens.
Because you were mad that he went to play for the Yankees.
Did you get any pushback on that headline?
Well, it was 2001. It was a little gamier back then. But it was basically a whole piece about how Roger Clemens fucked over the city of Boston and we all hated him. Here's my other unanswerable question. How did Pacino age 10 years from Heat to Devil's Advocate, which was only a 2-year span? How did he become 10 years older? In real life? Is that just like so many cigarettes? He just started to age in dog years?
That's a good question.
He feels 10 years older than he does as Vincent
and he's
Hanna.
obviously kind of like, he looks so good in Glengarry at the beginning of the decade.
Yeah.
So I wonder how old he is when he does that.
And he
like
looks good in Heat, like for Pacino.
Yeah.
Like he's in shape.
I think sometimes it might depend on who's shooting you and how they're shooting you. You know,
Yeah,
You think?
Because like in this movie, I was actually surprised when I watched it, like how non-dapper he was. He looked cool in the party scene.
Yeah.
But by the way, some all-time bad suits in this movie. Keanu's suits
It's
are
a tough
terrible.
era.
Yeah.
This was the NBA's effect on actors was really starting to hit in the wrong way. Jordan's wearing those oversized suits at that point, and it just fucked everything up for like 3
Bruh,
years.
Some of those drafts, I love some of those
Yeah.
drafts. These guys.
It's just everyone lost their minds for 3 years.
So
with
you
suits.
give it more to the NBA players, not David Byrne, right? Talking Heads.
Well, that was 80s.
I know. Just joking.
Jordan looked good in anything. Jordan looked good in anything he wore. So when he was pulling off these suits, everyone's like, "Oh, is that the style now?" And then they just kind of followed him.
Michael Jordan is this is what I love about Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan is the best at one thing. And he's a good businessman and all of that stuff. But a lot of the other stuff, sometimes like relating to human beings,
Right.
dressing, like all of this stuff, Michael Jordan is
Drafting
terrible at.
guys.
Like Michael Jordan is an amazing.
But when he shaved his head and it started off the shave the head thing,
Yeah.
he's
at that point, everybody's like, Jordan,
but like
just follow that
So
guy.
you think that Al Pacino looks the way he does in The Devil's Advocate because of Michael Jordan?
No, I think Jordan started a really weird wardrobe era
Okay.
of oversized
that you can
suits.
see everywhere you look in the mid-90s. Everywhere. There's weird sweaters. There's weird suits. Just things go haywire. Best double feature choice for this movie, I would say Injustice for All.
I got a big zag
What do you got?
because I'm gonna need a little lightheartedness after this, but I still want the devil.
Mhm.
Bedazzled.
Bedazzled.
I
Was
love.
not expecting that.
I love the movie.
Yeah.
I love that movie. Go back and guys watch it. It's one of the stupid movies that Van loves. Elizabeth Hurley. I can make a first team here pretty soon. Elizabeth Hurley with Brendan Fraser, the now resurgent Brendan Fraser, plays the devil.
Yeah.
Nice little message. Funny.
Andy and Red Zawad an award for what happened the next day. We kind of talked about this. You think it's just he keeps trying to tempt him.
But it is kind of interesting to wonder. I guess Larry is like, I'm going to do an expose on this story, and Kevin will be able to keep his legal standing in the state of Florida.
I kind of understand. I guess so. I guess like you say, he's going to go on 60 Minutes and
Yeah.
he's now going to become, but the trial's not over.
Yeah.
So we don't really, I don't know. I don't know, but it's just the fact that he's still susceptible to vanity and to his.
I
own
think he
hubris.
moves to Steve Spurrier.
Oh, he like becomes like a
He's like, I'm
quality
bored with this
control guy?
Lomax guy. I'm
Yeah.
I'm gonna go after a football coach.
Okay.
This is where I should be. Forget law.
Oh, this Satan goes after Steve
yeah,
Spurrier?
Pacino.
Yeah.
He already
He's like,
got
I'm
him.
done with Lomax.
That was obviously a lot of.
Oh, maybe
devil
that
stuff
was the prequel.
Yeah, he already
Sorry,
got
my
him.
bad.
He already had him.
What piece of memorabilia would you want from this movie?
The box cutter?
Which one?
The one on the subway, the box cutter.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
Roy Jones Jr. tickets?
Roy Jones Jr. tickets would be good, but I want the fucking the controversial sculptor.
Oh, the angels,
Oh,
the
that's
fallen
good.
angels
That's
one?
a winner.
Because maybe when the devil tries to tempt me, they'll come alive, and I don't know.
Coach Finstock Award for best life lesson. Free will. Stop
That's
blaming
it?
other people.
Stop playing with me.
Oh, yeah.
It's all your choice, man.
Okay.
You be tempted by stuff and dangled, but it's your choice.
Just don't ignore your wife.
Keep the wife happy.
Keep
Happy wife, happy life.
happy wife, happy life, or else
Yeah.
you'll have to have sex with your sister.
Who won the movie?
Al Pacino.
Al Pacino.
Al Pacino. Not his teeth, but the rest of Al Pacino. Isaiah, what'd you think?
Isaiah had a tough one.
I still have an hour left.
Perfect.
It's not my favorite film so far.
Isaiah doesn't like the 90s.
You don't like? Is there any movie from the '90s that you're just really, really fucking with?
I don't watch that many movies, so it's hard to say.
There you go.
Yeah.
This movie came out, what, 97, right?
Yeah.
It's like a year before I was born.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, you know, I don't want time anymore, bro.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a strange movie.
Listen, man.
I don't really do Satan, so like, it's
He
not
doesn't
quite
do
my
Satan.
bit.
Don't do
Yeah.
Satan. Isaiah,
Me
that's
neither.
a good quote.
Yeah, that's good.
Isaiah, I don't do Satan.
Yeah, that's probably going to serve you well in this life, honestly.
I hope so.